I've been thinking about this all day, kind of getting like a revelation because since I have been in like nighttime alcoholism, most nights I drink to sleep. And it's been that way since like COVID. But I realize it's always been a thing. If it wasn't alcohol, it was socialization, it was being a social butterfly, it was something else. And even in my teen years, it was bulimia. So I was listening through TikTok and there was a gentleman, Taylor Welsh, and he had a little clip and he said, "Where you struggle the most, that's where your greatest calling lies." And it kind of like released me to make this message to share with you. And I had been wondering, since I've been thinking about this all day, I'm wondering, I know I'm not the only one, but I wonder just how common this is. So I have this thing where in the evening, I don't know what to do with myself. And I realized this is not a new thing. This has been a thing my entire life. So when I was a small child, both my parents worked and they were obviously tired. I don't remember hardly ever having family dinners. This is no reflection on my parents. They were wonderful parents. I think it's just societal demands and just things that we were not consciously aware of. So, as a small child, I just have zero memory of ever having I knew it was a thing that we didn't have family dinners. We didn't. We didn't because when I went to my other friend's house, they did, and I found that to be interesting. And I always wanted to be at my friends' houses as a small kid because their family had a nighttime routine. They sat down and had dinner together and I would have dinner with them. I didn't know this was a thing that was lacking in my life. But I was very depressed. I was a depressed baby. I was like a suicidal baby. I didn't want to be here. I was so depressed. And then if I didn't go to a friend's house, I would come home from school and I was so depressed, I would go to sleep after school and I would sleep until the next day. At one point, my mom caught on to this and she was like, "Kid, you just sleep until the next day." And I was like, "Well, I don't really have anything else to do, you know?" I'm like, I don't know what to say. It's like, yeah, this is a thing. And then you get a little bit older, you get to be a teenager. And then naturally, I would pretty much go to my friend's house like every single day. I would go to my best friend's house or a friend's house every single day. In my later teen years, I discovered bulimia, where I had an eating disorder. So if I was left to my own devices, then I would just binge and throw up. And I had a pretty bad eating disorder until I moved to Texas at 23. This was always a thing. Now, in between these years, I kept myself busy. I would have at least like two jobs and I was going to school. So this is how I filled my time was I was working a day job, working a night job, and or also going to school. I had homework I had to study. So that's what I did. And then as a young adult moving to Austin, I would socialize. And socialization brings drinking, but it wasn't the drinking, it was the socialization. I would socialize. I was a social butterfly, right? Had tons of friends, right? I was in this like societal little funny like business networking group, busy hairstylist going out every night with my friends, going out every night with my friends. And then, COVID hit and it was like people stopped hanging out, people got all weird. And then, like, I obviously went after all the, satanic garbage in Austin, and that kept me busy. It creates a bit of PTSD. And then there's like a loneliness factor. And that's where I wasn't social drinking. In fact, I didn't have any friends. I was like drinking by myself. And it's continued to be a thing ever since. And even though I keep busy and I have friends and I have a job and like all things are good, it's like it's funny because I'm paralyzed at night. I'm absolutely paralyzed at night. I do not know what to do with myself. So several years ago, I decided to look on YouTube and look up videos about what other girls do at night. Right? My nighttime routine. What's their nighttime routine? And instead of being inspired, like I still watch them, it's like I'm not inspired. And I think this is because we all have this problem. Like, I think that women are natural caregivers, and I feel like my life is so unnatural to me because I have nobody to take care of. Parents, children. You don't have anyone to take care of. A husband, if it were even possible, because we can't even get along with the opposite sex. I swear they are just pushing us to reject. I swear that men have become as dark as they have is because women needed to wake up to how badly we're mistreated on a societal level. This is why I'm not mad about it. I think it is within God's plan. I feel like men had become as atrocious as they are for many reasons. But I think one of them was to really push women to have this like conscious awakening about how unfair, unnatural, ass backwards, liar society. There's no truth, there's no beauty. It's Sodom and Gomorrah. And I feel like through the mistreatment of what are supposed to be nice men, brought us to this revelation that, oh, society is actually pretty horrible to the feminine principle. So I'm not mad about it, but we are like obviously waking up to that. And I feel like with the awakening, it's coming with like this revelation. And I've been thinking about this for many years. I've been analyzing my own nighttime alcoholism for many years. I'm trying to analyze like, where does this come from? And I had this revelation today. It's always been a thing. It's always been a problem. Young child, never had a routine. Then I would go to my friend's house. If I didn't go to my friend's house, I would sleep until the next day. I was depressed. When I became a teenager, I would take 1, 2 jobs. If I was sat idle, then I was bulimic. As a young adult, you become a social butterfly, right? You can drink, you got money. So it was socialization. And then COVID weirdness, isolation, and then still doing the same thing. It's always been the same thing. This has always been the thing. It's always been a thing. So it's funny to me because I found that it's not the nice people that are like, oh, just stop drinking because you shouldn't drink. It's always the satanic mouthpieces that are like, just stop doing it. Okay, but why? Okay, but what do I do instead? For many years, I have never found the instead. With God, I've only ever found mediation. Moderation. Sorry, I've only ever found moderation. It was never stop, it was moderation. Because our life is so unnatural to us. And even when I watch these other women, their routines, these single women, I find their routines to be a lot of consumption, a lot of, I don't know, it's like maybe they're beating themselves up a little bit. I refuse to do that. I'm like, I'm not gonna sit and beat myself up and boredom and like tell myself there's something wrong with this when it's the natural reaction to the society that we're living in. And I wonder if this is a thing, because I'm thinking like, I don't think this is unique to me. This can't be unique to me. I just think it's something that a lot of people have a lot of women have never thought about before. If we're natural caregivers, if you don't have anybody or anything to take care of, then you're sitting idle. And then if you've never had a healthy evening routine, I've never had it. You're paralyzed in the evening. You don't know what else to do. I mean, you can have all the ideas in the world, you can create a list, you can have the discipline, you can do it. It still feels unnatural. That feels more unnatural than accurately responding to your environment, which is through alcoholism. And I know I'm not the only one. I'm just not keeping it a secret. I've never kept it a secret. I've always talked about it. I've always openly talked about it because I've always been trying to be transparent, be honest, walk this walk, analyze this situation because I know I'm not doing it because I'm a bad person. Oh, bad person. Satan will say, oh, you're just a bad person. No. No. In fact, a lot of the things I say on YouTube, I wouldn't say if I wasn't for Truly's deep. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have said it, but it needed to be said. So, where you struggle the most, they say that's where your greatest calling is. I don't know exactly what that calling is, but I don't know. We're really at the end here. We're really at the end of something. Something's got to give, right? This shit is not it. This ain't it. This is not it. It's totally ass backwards. 90% of society is coddled by narcissists coddling other narcissists, and like God has a judgment for them, and it's got to be coming very soon. I'm not complaining. My little niche environment is pretty solid. My niche economy, pretty solid. My niche social group in real life, like social group is great, like with my, internet niche. My like day-to-day social group is pretty great also. Not complaining. What's up, Brandon? Just stopping by to say hi, send love your stories. Oh, thanks, you too. Also, you were a model too, so there's pressure to be skinny. Well, I wasn't a model, but there was always pressure to be super skinny. I never knew that I wouldn't be skinny. That was part of the bulimia. Part of the bulimia was like, I think it was so subconscious that if I sat idle, I didn't know what to do. And then if you had a loss of control in relationships, because relationships don't work out that well ever, like they don't, because there's always some riffraff, there's always some kind of negative spirit that is out for relationships. So I would feel a loss of control, and then I'd be sitting idle, and then I would have no one to take care of and nothing to do. So naturally, that became a thing until I turned 21, and it was like, be a social butterfly, right? Go to work and then go to happy hour and socialize, right? Business network. It was like, oh, business networking. Sipping on something right now. Sheesh, I know, right? Like, we don't beat ourselves up about this. We just analyze it. Because I know what I'm doing is not wrong. And the people who love me have never shamed me for it. It's the people who don't actually love me who would say, just stop, just because. Just because, just stop, just because. And I'm like, well, that sounds like the mouthpiece of Satan. Because you're not going to beat me up, energetically, spiritually, and then tell me I'm not, and then I accurately respond to my environment, and then tell me that I'm not accurately responding. No, I was never going to buy into that lie. I was never going to buy into that lie. A lot of people can't drink because they got demons. I don't. I'm the same person. And I'm not saying I'm better, but it's true. Some people really can't drink because they sabotage on a level that's not healthy. But a lot of Christian people can absolutely drink and they're not going to change. They don't have demons. It's just a way to pass the time. It's because our lifestyle is so unnatural to us, right? This is not God's will for our life. This is not God's plan. We're just biding time. And I'm not going to bide time raw dogging reality when it's so boring and so unfulfilling. I'm going to find otherwise. And it's to drink on the porch and talk shit on YouTube. Until that's no longer a thing, that's what I'm going to do. Everything in moderation. An exorcist that Brandon knows says he drinks and smokes because he refuses to let demons rob him of a good life. That's a true Christian perspective. I'm not going to let demons rob me of a good life. I'm still going to enjoy my life. Yeah, dude, we're not out here raw dogging life. God didn't call us to raw dog life, but to bide some time while the psychos are allowed to believe that they are still in control. And all of a sudden, at one day, Babylon destroyed in 1 hour. In 1 hour, it'll all flip. It'll all change. It seems. It seems. That's what the Bible says. But I'm not going to sit and wait. I'm still going to, work and give back to the community. But in the evening, I've never had, it dawned on me today. It was like a major revelation. I've been trying to figure this out for years. And God was like, you have never had an evening routine. This is why. This is a huge reason why. And then I heard this TikTok where you struggle the most. That's where your greatest calling is. I would say this is where I struggle the most. Maybe I should take a nighttime gig in an old folks' home. God gave us these gifts. Yep. Amen. All right. That's it for now. Check you later. Have a beautiful night. Talk to you again really soon. Let me know what you think. I mean, I'm like, I can't be the only one who's never had an evening routine. I imagine that a lot of us never had the context, but this is actually our truth as well. Our families didn't have family dinners. We didn't get together. And then when you became a kid, you would socialize. You would go to your friends' houses where they had evening routines, right? They ate dinner together. They watched TV together. And then you would go home late at night and you would sleep and you go to school the next day. You get a little bit older and you become a social butterfly. I loved socializing, right? I loved going out. I loved happy hour. I loved socializing. But when that was no longer a thing, it's like, slowly but surely, this became the new routine, especially living out in the country now. But I wouldn't have it any other way because I wouldn't prefer to be in the city. I wouldn't prefer to be in the city at a bar. Hell no. Hell no. Yeah. Old folks would love to hear about reptilian overlords, right? Because they're 1 degree closer to them. Brandon loves his nighttime routine. You gotta. I love mine. You gotta love it, right? Don't let demons rob you of a good life. Exactly. Like that exorcist said, don't let demons rob you of a good life. But I don't mean to be an enabler. I mean, truly, some people cannot drink. It's really bad for them. It's like a generational curse. That's not the case. My parents never drank around us. And I swear to God, my parents virtually never drank alcohol around us. So, this is not like a generational curse. So, it's different for everybody, but this is my story. All right, check you later.